court to the field, every game, every fight. He's the voice of the struggle under stadium lights. He's seen the highs and the lows, the wins and the pain, every triumph and tear, every loss in the rain. But through it all, he stands tall, never backs down, with a heart full of love for this sports-loving town. Sports talk we watch, where the passion runs deep. Every story, every glory, every promise we keep. From the love of the game to the struggles we face, he's the voice of the people in the sacred space. Sports talk we watch, where the passion runs deep. Sports talk we watch, where the passion runs deep.
Good evening. How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sport Talk with B. Watt, with yours truly, Coach Dre, and my favorite Uncle Steve. B. Watts was out of town this weekend. Again, he hit us up, wanted to know if his guys could come through for him again. So we decided we'd come on in and talk with you guys for a little while. How you doing, Uncle Steve?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, Coach Dre. Doing fantastic. How about yourself, sir?
We doing blessed. We're blessed and highly favored on this good Sunday. We're going to let people come on in. Like I say, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because we here. We here. It's go time. We officially can say we're going to be at spring practice starting this week.
Yeah.
A big moment for Coach Prime and his staff, and especially for Coach Deion Sanders. I think this will be the first time he'll be coaching without Shedeur Sanders. Even with the one COVID year he had, I think Shedeur was still there practicing that year. He was still there practicing. So this will be the first time I think he's outside practicing without Shedeur. So that's what we'll start off with tonight. How do you feel about going into this first spring practice for Coach Prime without Shedeur Sanders?
Well, I feel real good about him not going in there with two. Two did his thing. Two set the foundation. Two people need to remember it was the beginning. You needed somebody that set the foundation. The foundation has been set. Now it's Coach Prime's time now to put a roof on top of it. Now Coach Prime is going to put a roof on top of his house, and he's going to do it easily by recruiting. You recruit good players that have integrity and that are disciplined and that are there for a purpose, and you're going to win. You win every time. Good players with good coaches produce W's. I haven't seen a place yet. You probably can name one or two out of a 5,000, but if you're looking at numbers, if you want to be successful as any coach, you need good players. And if you can coach, that means that you're at championship level. If you can coach a little bit, you're still gonna win because players play the game, and that's what you want. So for Coach Prime, I expect him to be even more. He's gonna be tougher. If you look at it, Coach Prime gonna be tough on these guys. And what he also have is this one here. Now Coach Prime can get in there. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, watch how fast Coach Prime go to the next player. He's going to give you an opportunity, but Coach Prime ain't going to sit there and babysit you. It's like the NFL. In the NFL, if you don't produce, you're looking for a job. because don't nobody have time for playing with players. So I expect nothing but good things. You're going to have some hiccups along the way because with anything, Coach Prime always adjusts because you're going to see after the spring training, spring ball, you're going to see when that portal opens up, he's going to look at every area that he needs to get reinforcements, and we're going to see that. Back to you, Coach Dre.
Yeah, I think for him to be coming out, like you say, them guys built a solid foundation, and that's what you got to do. You got to build a foundation. Shedeur and Travis and those guys have done that. I'm not really worried. I think we have solid guys in each and every room to lead, and that's what you need. A player-led football team, and the coaches just guide. When you have a player-led football team and your coaches are just the guide and just the teachers, you're in a better place. And I think that's what you're gonna see a lot of. Like Unc said, he's gonna be a lot more tedious because again, it's very difficult coaching your sons and a football team. It's very difficult. Believe me, it's very difficult because you know what you expect from them, and then if they don't come out there and give you that, it's very difficult. So we'll see a different aspect from the Coach Prime in that aspect. So guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go position by position. We're gonna talk about guys that we think should stand out in spring practice. Maybe a guy or two that you might think that will surprise you. So if you got a guy in the chat, you put it down there as me and Coach Unc talk about it, and we'll talk about it. So we're not gonna start with the players. We're gonna start with the coaches. We hired 3 new coaches on this staff to go along with the great staff that Coach Prime has already had. Tell me what you think about the additions of Coach Falk, Coach Dre, and then Coach Pecco to this great CU staff.
Now, with Coach Pecco, this is what I expect for Coach Pecco. I expect him, he don't have to do nothing special. All he has to come in and with mess with the more sap. Yeah, that's all he needs to do, sap and Hilo. He just needs to come in and say, hey, this is my foundation on what I believe in. This is what I believe in as a coach. This is the foundation we need to build upon, and this is what we need to go to the next level. If you look at it, that defense is the foundation of Colorado. I'm just letting you know. Y'all can go talk about offense all you want to. I went back today and I looked at games and scores, and I was like, even when Colorado played, the defense you could say wasn't the greatest against BYU. BYU didn't put up number. They got 36 points, but them 36 went all on the defense. They had a special teams where they got down there and scored, and then they had some turnovers when it pertains to CU with some bad sacks and then going for it on the 4th down. So the defense was put in bad positions when it pertained to that. So I look at coaching as this. You don't need to, he does not need to come in and be cute. He needs to look at, hey, fellas on this D-line, we are going to stop the run. And not only are we going to stop the run, we're going to cause heck. We're going to cause HEEL hockey sticks when it comes to that quarterback. That quarterback is going to see stars when it pertains to this team. So that's the first one. If you're talking about this, what's the other coach you want to talk about?
We also added Coach Andre Gerard to the offensive line room, and then we added Coach Falk, the new running backs coach.
Okay, with Gerard has the hardest job. I'm telling you right now, he has the hardest job, me personally, because that's where you got the Seton Express, and that's the only one. I'm on the offensive line. I'm Seton Express 1000. Seton, you can get on the Jordan. When it comes to him, he got a river named after him. Over there in Gaza and everything with the Jordan River. He got shoes named after him, Air Jordan. He got the Express named after the Seton Express. The man is the only one that I see that is a foundation on that offense. Now, Gerard has to come in there and say, hey, we're going to make it simple. We need to look at what we have. what their strengths are. And this is where good coaching come in, Coach Dre. And this is what you know. You can't come in there and put a scheme on a team that don't have that kind of talent. You got the first thing he has to do, and I don't care where you are, this even is in business. The first thing you do is find out what you have first. You got to look at what you have. After you look at what you have, now I need to see what their strengths and weaknesses are. Okay, I got that. Then I'm going to talk to them to see what and ask them, what do you excel at? Because you want to get some feedback from your players to see what they think they are strong at. Okay, after we do that, I'm going to talk with Coach Prime and say, hey, Coach, this is my evaluation of what I see. This is my goal of what I'm going to do to get them to the next level. And then I'm going to be honest with Coach Prime. If you don't have a right tackle, I'm letting Coach Prime know we need to get that spring portal and get a right tackle. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, I can make this player become. You have what you have. You do what you make do with what you have, but Gerard is going to have the hardest job, but he can make it even better for him, in which the offensive coordinator, which is Pat Schumer, can come and put schemes together, whatever weakness they have. If they have, for an example, if you have a weakness at right tackle, what does a good coach do? You put a tight end on that side to help him. That's just common sense. You don't leave them out there on the aisle and throw the ball 70 times, 78% of the time, when you're telling me that right tackle can't hold up or those guards can't hold up. You add it up. You add to that line. You bring it. I bring 2 tight ends in, 2 big tight ends. And if you have to, I'm going to get the 6 best offensive linemen. If it's me, if it's a running play, I'm bringing in the 6 best offensive linemen. If that happened to be Gooden, he would come in and act as a tight end, and he would be my extra blocker. Those are things that they got to do. Marshall Faulk is this one here. Marshall Faulk got to be honest with Coach Prime and let Coach Prime know, Coach, we can't throw the ball 70% of the time. I know you love airing this ball out, but you can't name me no Super Bowl team, too many Super Bowl teams that all they did was throw the ball. You're not going to name them. The New England Patriots didn't do that. Even when you looked at the Rams when Falk was there, they ran the football. The Philadelphia Eagles run the football. The Kansas City Chiefs, I hate to tell people, they ran the football. So with me saying this is this, Coach Dre, Falk has to come in and tell Coach Prime, Coach, I love you. We have to run the ball. And the next thing he has to do, Falk has to do is this, Coach Dre. This is what's going to make him special. When Schumer goes out there and feel like, hey, they just pass it and they're in a groove, he's going to have to stop them and say, hey, we need to run the ball. We need to do things different. We need to keep the defense off balance. And if you do that, they're going to be successful. So I think for each coach, Coach Prime needs to let them coach. But he also needs, what he always does is hold them accountable to ensure that they're doing what his expectations are. So it's going to be tough on them, but I think he got the right people. Back to you, Coach Dre.
I mean, those are all great takes on those guys. I think getting Coach Pecco in with his defensive line, I think him and Coach Sapp with Coach Shilo are going to do a great job. I think you're going to just see another version of what we saw last year with Lewis and Dancy. I think these guys are going to mesh. They are all pros. Lewis is a defensive genius in my book. When it comes to Andre Gerard, yes, Al Farouk, he is the assistant. And it is, but I think with a guy like Gunnar Wright, and when you're a great coaches feed off of one another. I don't care if I'm the person. See, I think a lot of us, we get, and that's even in life, you get so caught up in a title and what my title is. That's the biggest thing that went on last year with the defensive line room was those guys took away all the titles. We won group. We won sound. We won band. We ain't trying to do all of that. So I think you're going to see that same thing in that offensive line room with the great Gunnar White, with Coach Andre, and with Big George. I think all those guys are going to work together to make this offensive line better. Again, I'm with right now. Seaton is my only guy. When we get to the offensive line, I'll tell you who my surprise guy is. Marshall Faulk. Listen, Andre, if you got a chance, you can go listen to Coach Andre on your boy Matt McChesney show from Friday. He's on there for about 15 minutes. And he says this. He says, Coach Falk and him have talked, and that the offensive line and the running backs are going to meet together as one unit so they can come together and understand what to expect, what to look for, and things of that nature. That was my first key that I know we're gonna run the ball this year. That we're gonna be in tune with running the ball. Again, I keep telling y'all, this year will look different from last year. If you guys go back and look at tapes from last year, watch the film. When Shedeur sitting there with the tablet, Pat Shermer sitting on the side of Shedeur, and Shedeur sitting in the middle of the guys, and they talking. And they point out stuff. Now, agree, again, Coach Sherman is coaching. I'm not taking anything away from Coach Sherman. He is coaching. But I guarantee you this year, when you see them pictures, it'll be Sherman in the middle talking with the guys. So it's going to be a little different. But I think Coach Prime did a great job adding on to his staff with what he already had, which is the inner circle, the great Coach Hart, the great Coach Mathis. With Coach Field already out there at receiver doing his thing, Coach Bartolone at tight end. So we already had a great staff and all the GAs and all the assistants that make this thing go. So I am very pleased with what he has as a staff at Colorado. So with that being said, we'll move on to the position everybody want to talk about, the quarterback spot. You got 4 guys. Well, actually 5 quarterbacks on the roster. I looked today. We have 5 quarterbacks on the roster with Staub and Allen and Ponder being guys that were there last year, with Salter and Juju being guys coming in this year. Tell me what we're expecting to see, what you're expecting to see in the spring. Go ahead, from the quarterback position.
What I expect to see, Coach Dre, is this one here. I expect to see a quarterback come in there, take command of that offense and the team, and say, hey, this is the direction we're going. That's the first thing I expect to see. The second thing I expect to see 5 people competing for that number 1 job. That's the second thing. But you're going to have somebody going to come and say, okay, I'm running the team. Boom, I'm leading this here. We're getting this going. Then I expect the other 4 to come behind them and say, we looking for his head. We going for his head because that ain't his job. We want that job. I want to see quarterbacks saying, I don't care what they say, I want that position. And you're 1 play away from it anyway. Even if someone wins the job, you're still 1 play away from you being the man. So you need to be prepared, just like Cash was prepared when he needed to step in. So I'm looking for that at the quarterback. And in order for Colorado to be successful, I'm telling you right now, you're going to need 3 quarterbacks for them to, and people like, what you mean? When you got a running quarterback, you're going to get nicked up. If a quarterback runs, I don't care where you go, look at what the teams that we played, Kansas State, and then you look at Kansas State, Kansas, and you can look at the other teams that we played. Any team that had running quarterback that threw it well, they got nicked up. And you're going to get nicked up because you're going to get hit. And if that is the case, Coach Prime is going to have to say, even when Salter got nicked up last year and he was playing in a game hurt, a bad ankle, you don't play those players. You're going to have to sit them out. I understand you can start out, but if you start out and they stiff and things ain't going and you see that they can't move, you got to pull them. So that's why I want to see in spring break, Coach, I want to see players that understand the offense, players that are going. This is the key to any team for Colorado right now. No turnovers and move the chain. That's all they have to do. No turnovers, move the chain, and when you got a position to get 3 points, don't mess it up. If you do that and you have a defense that don't give up no more than 17 to 20 points, that's a win. You're winning football games. So if it's Salter, if it's Ponder, if it's Juju, move the chains, which if you have a 5-yard to the tight end, pass the ball for the 5 yards. If you have the running back get 2 yards, get the ball to the running back. Don't go down there. We can't have plays like last year when 2 got those big losses when you're down in field goal range on several occasions and the ball go back 20 yards the other way. You can't have that. You run that football, get those 2 yards, kick the 3 points, and get the ball back to the defense, because the defense is our foundation. So as far as I'm concerned with the quarterbacks, I look for competition. I look for players being hungry, understanding this. And I'm going to say this here, and I'm going to leave it alone, Coach Dredd. I'm going to kick it back to you. No quarterback on our roster is all Superman. We don't need no quarterback thinking, and I don't want any quarterback thinking for Colorado this year, next year, the year after. You have to win the game. You don't. All you need to do is don't turn the football over, just like when Ray Lewis told the Baltimore Ravens. He told them, all you need to do, go down there and give us X amount of points, we going to win. And I truly believe that for Colorado. If they don't turn the ball over and make the simple plays and don't put in their head, I got to win this game, because if Salter or Juju put in their head that they got to win the game, it's going to be a long season. I'm telling you, it's going to be, because they're going to put too much on themselves. All they need to do, everybody glows about O. If O the man, give O the ball. If Williams the man, give Williams the ball. If IA the man running, give him the ball. And that's what they need to do. Back to you, Coach Dre.
I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, coming into this, I just want to see competition. I want to see people compete. I don't want to see nobody lay down. Again, nobody was promised this job. Salter came on and told y'all before he got to Colorado, he wasn't promised the job. When I know for a fact there was a couple of schools that probably told him, if you come to our school, you're going to be promised to start. He wasn't promised anything. He's going to have to come out here and earn it with anybody, because that's how Coach Prime is. That is no knock, or that's not Coach Dre saying that Salter's not going to be the guy. I'm telling you, he's going to have to earn it. There's nothing going to be handed to him. If you go back and look at any of Coach Prime team, he hasn't handed anybody a starting job. Okay? All those guys had to go out there and earn it. And so I'm excited about what we have in the quarterback room. I believe in Salter and Juju. I'm a Ponder guy. I'm not going to, everybody knows that. I like Ponder. I just feel like that those three guys are equivalent to each other, where you don't have to really change what you're doing in the offense if those are your three guys. So I like I say, but you can't count out Staub. He's been there. He's reliable, and he's done a great job. So I'll never count him out. You get what I'm saying? But I do like where we is in the quarterback room. But I think guys, and this is just Coach Drake, I don't think Coach Prime will name a starter after the spring. I just don't. I think you guys are gonna have to wait till fall practice to get a starter name. I just don't think Prime is gonna give y'all what y'all looking for, is who is the starter going in the fall camp. I don't think he gives you that till fall camp. I think he keeps that close to vest. But with that being said, we'll move on to the running back room. Everybody came back. Nobody left. We didn't pick up anybody in the portal. So I think we got a great group of guys. So give me what you think about that running back room going into the spring.
That's where you really got that competition going. That it's gonna be a beautiful competition. And what I mean by that, they respect each other. Not only do they respect each other, they help each other. If you listen to them, those guys go in there, they explain something to the young guys, and hey, this is what you need to look at. You missed this here. When the quarterback does that, you need to do this here. I think for the running back room, it's going to be simpler this year than it was last year. Last year, you need experienced running backs last year, because 2 changed those plays at that line. If you look at that game, when people talk about why is Zelensky having so many problems, man, because when 2 changed that play on him, now he has to go and he has to make his reads for the blocking scheme. You need to do this. And when you're trying to do all that, you got 10 seconds, and now you're down to 2. That's trouble. That's trouble. And then you're going to get blamed if 2 get hit. Man, that's a lot of stress. But with that being said, this is what I see for the running backs. It is going to be competitive. This is what the running backs better do. If it's me, I'm taking care of my body, because I know this. Coach Prime, they're going to run the football. They're going to run the football because Coach Prime, hate to tell people, Coach Prime, and this goes with he didn't birth him, but he had this young man since birth. he knew with two what he was going to get. And you can say whatever you want to. If I know that I'm going to get 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 300 and some yards every game from two, you can say what you want to. Two start. Two is starting because I know what I'm getting. With other players, you can say whatever you want to. You might get a 300-yard game. You might get a 175-yard game. You might get 4 interceptions. You just don't know. You just don't know. But with that being said, when it comes to the running backs, Coach is going to go on what he sees. Coach Prime is going to go on their productivity. And those young men, what I like about Coach Prime is this. He's going to give every one of them an opportunity. And I'm going to tell you this here. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you because I'm not going to say, well, I know this person, because what's going to happen is this one here. Augustus going to probably be the first one out there. Augustus or Welch probably going to be the first ones out there because Coach Prime had them and Coach Prime put them in games at big time. So Coach Prime goes off his trust. I think he's going to trust them right now a little more than others. But what's going to happen is this one here. They got to stay healthy. They got to produce, and they got to stay positive with their attitudes. So those things are hard to do. I just hate to tell you, they're hard to do because they're going to get hit. And if they don't do that, the next man up. So Augustus is going to start, but I don't think Augustus is going to finish. And the reason I say he's not going to finish is because of this one here. It's hard when you're that cowbell and you're running that football, you taking them hits, and then you got behind you Welch is fresh, and Welch is going to be in practice. Then you got your boy, you got the other running backs that behind him. You got my man Hayden, and then you got the dark horse, who the hood boy, the hood man. You got Hood back there. They're going to be in practice, and what's going to happen is they're going to be lighting practice up. Augusta be running around there with them bumps and bruises. He ain't going to be looking like they looking. And when that happens, you know what Coach Prime going to do? Coach Prime going to put the next man up. So that's what I see when it comes to running back. It's going to be competitive, but the key is going to be health and productivity. That's it. Health and productivity. Those are going to determine who's going to be out there. And Brandon Hood with his speed, I'm glad you said that, Miss Jennifer. You got Hood there. Hood is the key because Hood is a home run player. Hood and Augustus are the two that when they get the ball, they can take it the distance. And it's hard to leave players like that off the field because in practice, they're going to see Hood take that ball and he's going to run for 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards. And it's hard to keep him off the field. But the key going to be whoever the running back is, Coach Dre, hear me when I say this. I don't care who they are. If they fumble that football, they're done. They're done because now if you fumble the football, now you got 4 people behind you. Now you got to go to the back of the line, and now you got to wait for those 4 other people to do what they got to do before you get back on the field. Back to you, Coach Dre.
I mean, you hit it on the head. It's 5 guys in that room. I see guys saying they think we're going to get somebody in the portal. Somebody got to lose for somebody to come in there. Nobody's coming in there with 5 running backs. You're not getting anybody to come into your room if you got 5 running backs. We know Charlie's not going nowhere. I don't believe Hood is going anywhere. And I don't believe Welch is going anywhere. So if somebody was to go somewhere, it would be the other 2 guys that came in last year. If I'm there, there's no need for me to leave. Listening to Coach Gerard talk the other day about those guys and what's going to be happening in that running back room, I believe that we're going to have it's going to be 2 guys back there, guys. We're going to run 2 backs, maybe even 3. And I believe Hood is a Marshall Faulk type of back. I'm just going to be honest with guys. I think he's a home run hitter. He can catch the ball out the backfield the same way with Augustus. But, again, I think we're going to have to wait till the fall to find out who's going to be the guy. I think everybody going to get an opportunity in the spring. Coach Prime going to stand up there and tell you, didn't everybody get an opportunity? So you can't go and lie and say he didn't give you the opportunity. He's going to give everybody the opportunity to run the football, and we shall see. But I'm glad that all those guys stayed. That also let you know that something was already known about what was going on because none of those guys even attempted to hit the portal in this fall camp. Well, now we get to the one position where I'm not worried, but I really want to see what we got, and that's the offensive line. I got some guys I feel confident about. I got some guys that got to show me something. When we talk about the offensive line, like you say, there's no need for us to talk about Seaton. We know what he is. The guy that's my surprise, when I said surprise, I was surprised when I saw Owens, when I saw Flapjack. This kid looks like he's been working quietly behind the scenes. His body has changed completely. I think this guy is going to shock a lot of people in this offensive line room. You got 3 guys that come in the portal, and then I just believe in Cash Cleveland because he's shown you what he can do. So, like I say, the only guy I can pencil in right now as a starter is Seaton. And again, I'm not a hypocrite, guys. In Brown, I trust. In the Rock, I trust. I just believe that kid was being asked to do a lot of stuff last year. And when you're a good kid like Brown, you do exactly what the coaches ask you to do. Again, we got Benson in. Unbeknownst to y'all, Benson was hurt all year. And so why they moved him in the guard was because his arm was hurt. He couldn't extend out there at the tackle. So that's why they had to move Tyler Brown outside. So I still believe in Rock. I believe Rock gonna be able to help us. But this offensive line is where we gotta get ourselves together. I believe we will with these great coaches that we have. But go ahead, Uncle, and tell us what you're expecting to see in this offensive line this spring.
Well, what I expect to see from the offensive line is physicality. And what I also expect to see from the offensive line is this one here. The offensive line, and I think they did last year. If you listen to them, Seaton them told you they like running. They like running at football. And they say that's when they get their groove going when it comes to running the football. I watched the BYU game. I watched Welch run back-to-back plays, get a first down. And we went straight away from running and start passing the ball. So with that being said, I don't expect to see that this year. What I also expect to do is this. If you go back and look at the UCF game and watch all the different schemes that Pat Schumer put in for that game, that should be the game plan for every game we play. We should not come out there and be so vanilla. When my wife can name what we're getting ready to run, that's a problem. She say that's all they do is a little hit. Why they just do this here? They done that play about 10 times. Same thing I'm saying. And if you look at coaches, it don't take great coaches to look over there if that's what you're going to do to defend it. So for the offensive line, I want to see them get in there, demand to run the ball. And when they demand to run the ball, they need to show their physicality. And the next thing I expect and this is for the offensive line too. The offensive line need to be in there screaming, we need to do better schemes. We need to come in there. If we know we got a weakness, let's quit lying to ourselves and cover that weakness. Anybody on that line, if we need to bring in 2 extra tight ends, bring in 2 extra tight ends. If we don't have 2 strong tight ends that block, bring the 6 best offensive linemen that you have, because I'm telling you right now, Carday Smith, and if Gooden don't start, those guys way better than tight ends when it comes to blocking, because that's what they do. And their bodies are going to be over there with that tackle. So now you're going to have 2 300-pounders over there against a little tackle or defensive end that weigh 260 pounds at most. You should tear their heads up and then be able to get to the next level with Smith or Gooden because of their speed and their flexibility to get back to the defensive backs to tear their head off. So it's so many different things that you can do. I'm going here and saying this. Coach Prime, what people are not seeing is this here. Think about it, Coach Dre. Coach Prime is not setting Colorado up for this year, but if you really look at it, you're going to have next year with Juju's team, when Juju comes out there with his team, I'm just telling y'all, and y'all can look at it anyway, I'm looking at how Coach Prime is thinking. Juju gets to work with his receivers, even if he's first string or second string, the players that he's working with, they're going to be the stars next year. Because what's going to happen, those players are going to have another year under their belt, and they're going to be popping up where it's time. And now you don't have no problems because those same players are going to be like, hey, we got continuity because we played with Juju all of last year. When it comes to the offensive line, that's the same thing. Look at Gooden. Look at your big boy that you got over there, your other the tackle that you have. You're gonna have look at Guttenheimer, look at Cash, look at Seaton, and that ain't counting the recruiting class that he's gonna bring in. Hopefully, get a young man from IMG. If you get that guard, if you look at it, Coach Prime is building a monster on the offensive line. It might not be this year. But if you look at it next year and the year after, those boys are going to be going to sophomore, junior years where you're going to have a very young and experienced offensive line. So that's what I think Coach Prime is trying to get to. And he can also be able to go out and get someone from the portal, one person or two person, to make it even stronger. So what I'm expecting for them, physicality. I expect them also, Coach Dre, I'm going to kick it back to you. I don't want to see people out of position. Don't put Rock at tackle. He's not a tackle. Let's quit doing that. If they're a guard, keep them at guard. Let's just keep it. If they're a guard, keep them at guard. If they're a tackle, keep them at tackle. And the only way you don't do that is you got another strong tackle, and you need to have them a strong. Carday Smith, thank y'all. That was fantastic. Carday Smith is what I'm talking about. But with that being said, Coach, the sky's the limit for the offensive line, but it's going to be scheme coaching that's going to be the key.
I see the question up there from our producer, B. Watts. Should Cash Cleveland be penciled in as a starter? He was a freshman All-American like Seaton. Cash will be only get stronger, faster, and bigger. Again, we love Cash. They went out and got the kid McGill, but McGill can play guard. So I think that McGill could be our left guard or right guard, and that Cash can be the center. Seaton is the only person he's penned in. He ain't penciled. He written down in ink. So if you wanna pencil Cash in at center, that's cool with us, and I agree with you. But just know that can change at any moment. TMFB, hey, I appreciate that. If whenever they offer, we coming. All we need is the offer. We down to do anything for Colorado. Coach know what it is. Now with us just talking about the offensive line, we'll talk about the tight ends and the receivers all together to wrap up the offense. You lose just about all your starters at the receiver spot. The great Travis Hunter, my guy Jimmy Horn, LaJohntay Wester, Will Shepard. All your production from the receiver spot is gone. The guys that did play, Draylon, and before he got hurt, are the only guys with game time experience in that receiver room. And Timmons. I be forgetting about Timmons and Timmons. So we know going out there at the receiver spot that we're going to be brand new. Again, O is coming off an injury, but everybody is expecting him to be receiver one. We go out and get another great receiver in JoJo Williams. Timmons has showed you that he wants to be a leader, that he wants to be the guy. Cam McHale has stepped up, a guy that we think would have played if he doesn't get injured. Then you got Draylon Miller, but you got the super three. You got the super three, them super freshmen in Q6, Farrakhan, and Andre Wilson. And then at that tight end spot, you got the guy Atkins. And then, hey, guys, don't forget, we got two good freshmen that'll be there in the summer. So tell me what you're expecting from this great group of receivers and tight ends in this Colorado offense this year.
Coach Dre, this is what I expect from this wide receivers this year. Just look at it. Coach Prime, this is what I'm telling y'all. Y'all better start thinking when it pertains to Coach Prime. Coach Prime have it where I'm so happy he didn't bring in any more receivers. And people are like, well, I want somebody experienced. No, if you're looking at it, Coach Prime is telling these people, I got confidence in you. This is your team. This is your time. And not only is he telling them that, look at it. he got these receivers for the next 3-4 years. 3-4 years, he's set at receiver. Well, all he got to do is just come in with freshmen. He don't have to bring in top-notch people anymore, receivers. He keep the players that he got, develop those receivers. And if y'all look at Phillips, Phillips got 2 Heisman Trophy winners, baby. Phillips got 2 Heisman Trophy winners. He got Andre Ware and he got Travis. That's 2. Phillips can flat out coach. Phillips can flat out coach. And when you can coach at the way level Phillips coach, why would I ask players from other teams to come in like you had to do in the past? Now I got players that he's developing, and you can see the development of those players. Look at Draylon Miller, the season he had. Look at your boy O Miller. O Miller, when it got hurt, O was getting ready to explode. But with that being said, the development of Phillips is huge. Tight end, everybody's talking about Atkins. Everybody is talking about Atkins. And we still forgot about the young man that was at Ohio State who came and got injured the second game he got there. He got injured. So you got to remember that he's still there. And he is going to be begging for time. So it's going to be hard for those freshmen. And they ain't going to count. Small's still going to be there. And Small, considered or not, Small, what he had to go through to learn that position, get his mind. Now the game should slow down for him now, because you had a whole year, and you had a whole year under a professional scheme that they were running. Now you're going to have more of a college scheme that you're going to be running. It's going to be professional, but more college related, where he can come in there and he don't have to think so much. He can go and play, so he should play faster. With that being said, is this one here. Coach Prime has set himself up for the next 3 or 4 years with these fantastic, young, talented receivers. I'm not just looking at this year. Just imagine next year, a whole year, everybody still comes back, more experience, and then they're going to have a quarterback that can zip that ball. Man, you might see the reincarnation of 2 come back next year, but I want them to go back to running that football. Back to you, Coach Dre.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, guys. This is what I'm gonna tell y'all. You're gonna have the receivers and the defensive line. You're gonna have a rotation, guys. We gonna have at least anywhere from 6 to 8 of those guys are gonna play. I saw Miss Jennifer say something that I really believe in. This kid, Caleb Mathis, I think is the best route runner we have on the football team. He had a hamstring injury. Again, I told you, when you have a hamstring injury, you never really recover from that during the season. You only get better in the off season when you can rest it. A hamstring doesn't get better trying to go out there and push yourself because you want to play. And he wanted to play because he played as a true freshman. If you played as a true freshman and then you didn't get as much burn as you wanted to get as a sophomore, you know you itching to get back out there. And he's itching to get back out there. So I believe that we're going to see big things from Caleb Mathis out there this season. So we won't count him out. But again, I love Coach Phillips, Coach Bartolone, and what they're doing with their rooms. And like Uncle Steve said, we're setting ourselves up for the future. Because, like I said, you got the big 3 freshmen that came in to go along with O Miller, JoJo, Draylon, Cam McHale, and those other guys. And the guys that they are offering at receiver in this 26 class, hey, it's crazy, guys. It's gonna be surprising if we only get 1 or 2 of those guys. We good. If we get the 2 I want, we gonna be working with fish grease. So we just told you what we expecting from the offense. We appreciate everybody for coming by, rocking with me and Unc today. If you'll do B Watts and B Watts a favor and Rob the Man, if you hit that like button, like, share, and subscribe their content. Hey, we just 2 guys that's on here supporting our brothers. We, like I tell y'all all the time, we not content. I'm not a content creator. I'm an old football coach from Gainesville, Florida, that comes on here and supports my guys. So with that being said, we'll move over to the defense. That defensive line, that's where it all starts at for me this year. It starts and finish up front in that defensive line room. We loaded. We loaded. I think I heard on a few shows, oh, we need to go to the portal and maybe get a couple more deep. For what? For what? If there's nobody leaving, there's no need to bring nobody in. Cause we deep. Where you want to start at? You get what I'm saying? You want to start with O? You want to start with Lightfoot, Barnes, TC? We go out to the edge. Sammy, Wade, Walker. What you want, man? With this great defensive line, what are we expecting to see in this spring coming up?
I expect to see quarterbacks on their back. I expect to see them on the other side of the ball raising havoc. That I expect to see a defense running around like crazed dogs. That's what I expect. I want to see a defense that impose their will on offenses. I want to see a defense when it pertains to this defense that we don't get stuck up in that man-to-man. We switch stuff around. I want to see blitzing. When you got linebackers that can move, I want to see linebackers getting in there, getting after it. But what I want to see, Coach Drake, this is going to determine whether we get a championship or whether or not we just only win 6 or 7 games. A disciplined defense. I could care less how good they are if they're not disciplined. I don't want to see no jumping off sides because that makes no sense. The ball is right there. Ray Charles, no, you don't move until the ball moves. Ray Charles, Stevens can see that. If the ball don't move, I don't move. When the ball move, I move. So I want to see discipline. The next thing I want to see is this one here. I don't want to see people getting 15-yard penalties because what Colorado needs to realize this one here. They're going to get in McKinney's face. They're going to get in Hood's face. And this is what the receiver's going to tell him. You ain't Travis. You ain't 12. And I know what they're going to say. I'm not even there. That's the first thing I'll say to them. Who y'all think y'all are? Y'all ain't Travis. The Heisman Trophy winner ain't here now. We coming at you. And when they do that, you can't get frustrated saying and then going back and forth with them. What you need to do is, great teams do this here. Every time I played a sport or something like this, I point at the scoreboard. And they say, why are you pointing at the scoreboard? Look like you're losing. What I'm going to argue? I don't argue with losers. Now, if y'all got more points than we got, then I can say something. But look at the scoreboard. We peeling your head. You might want to stop talking and play because what you're doing right now ain't working for you. So when it comes to that front line has to come in and realize you don't need to come in. We don't need heroes. We don't need no heroes. Play your position, alignment, assignment, and be disciplined. If that front line does that, they are the backbone, they're the foundation, they're the core, and they're going to be the reason Coach Prime is raising up a trophy or not raising up a trophy. It's all on the defense. I'm not putting nothing on the offense. Offense, stay over there, get your popcorn, eat it. The defense, and let me tell you something else, Coach Dre. This the first year I expect Colorado to have a scoring defense. Not only do I expect them to dominate, I expect them to score. What you mean by that, That means when Hood and them intercept the ball of McKinney like they did, McKinney did in Oklahoma State, when he really wanted it, he wanted that game. When he got that interception, it was nowhere in the heck he wasn't scoring. That kid was going to score when Hood get the ball, scoring. So those are the things that I expect, Coach Dre. And I know your boy B. Watts right there. I expect Free Barnes to be free and to get out there and do some things. Back to you, back to you, Coach Dre.
Yeah, I mean, I like what we got. Like I told you, it's talent on top of talent, iron sharpening iron, and what you know is you don't have you can't take a day off, and that's what I like about this, and that's what I think going to push these young men. You can't take a day off. Take a day off and go and drop down the depth chart if you want to. That's what you do. Go out there and get you some penalties and do something to where you already see Coach Prime on that. He ain't on that discipline stuff. I saw one of them say, "Hey, the strength and conditioning staff is they that's one of the biggest things was Coach Swayze is that discipline." And like I said, I have no problem with the music being played in the weight room and stuff like that, but I understand the reason for taking it out. Because now these young men are talking with each other, they're communicating with each other. They got to get to know each other because, again, with this transfer portal era, it's a new team every year you step in that weight room for winter practice. So, again, I appreciate what these young men are doing in the way that they're working hard. Uh, y'all don't start that free barn stuff. Don't start that free barn stuff tonight. Uh, Now we'll move to the linebacker spot. Another room that's full. You bring in Big Hughes and my guy French, and then you already got guys that was there like Jalen Webster, uh, Goldberg, um, Garcia. You bring in the freshman, Montrez Walker. That linebacker room is loaded. And now you bring in those guys with the experience to help these younger guys because everybody besides them. Oh, and you still got JB and you get JB to come back, which was I think was big, and I think it's gonna pay off for him. I think it's really gonna pay off for him because of the simple fact is sometimes guys you gotta stand I'm gonna tell everybody this so you can. Sometimes God has you stand in the storm, and you wonder why you can. That storm pass, then comes the rainbow, and then comes everything that comes with it. So I think, with that being said, I believe that that's what's gonna happen for JB. But when you bring in a guy like French, when you bring in a guy like Hughes, those guys don't let that where they coming from fool you. Just because they coming from these smaller schools, y'all think that, again, Nikhil Green, yeah, I know he went to Michigan and that's what everybody thinks about. He didn't play a snap at Michigan. Nikhil Green at Charlotte. So tell us what you think about this linebacker room and Coach Hart going into this spring.
Well, I look for Coach Hart to do an excellent job with these linebackers because what you're going to have is this one here. When you have a front seven in which CU have, or you're going to say the front of the four, the front four, that CU have, they should be clean. And if you got linebackers that are clean and don't have to worry about a center or a guard attacking them, they should have clean shots. And where I'm going is this one here. They're more athletic. If you look at CU right now at linebacker, they're way more athletic. These guys can move around on that football field. They've played a lot of football, which is good. Even we got to realize Wester made some good plays last year. The only thing with Wester was I really thought that Wester just needed to put on about 5 to 10 more pounds of muscle so that when he hit somebody, he hit them. Those type things. But Wester made some fantastic plays. What I saw from Wester was this here. He was in the right position. That's the first thing, to be where you're supposed to be. He was there. Now he got to go. He got to be consistent making the plays, which is excellent. Hughes, it's going to be competition in that linebacker room. They're going to be well coached when it pertains to that linebacker room. And the key for those linebackers, keep them clean. When you can keep linebackers clean, the great Ray Lewis said, when you can, the Goose kept him clean. That big Goose, Saragusa, kept him clean. When you can keep a linebacker clean, all they need to come in is make plays. And they have the people that can make plays. And I see what also help the linebackers is this one here. I think they need to play a little bit more zone. Zone will help them out in that help the linebackers out because they won't have to be trying to play the entire field, because sometimes when you're playing man-to-man and those good coaches start putting people in motion and then they start running options and stuff like BYU do, man, you're leaving those linebackers on islands. This year, I say again, this year I expect. Great job, boy. That Miss Smith is something else. She she be hitting it. What I expect this year is this one here. I expect those linebackers. I think they're going to be switched too, Coach Dre, because what's going to happen, man? Coach Hart, if you don't have a good week, man, Coach Hart pull you. Coach Hart will switch you. So they need to be consistent. If they're not consistent, they're not going to be playing the next week. Coach Hart going to switch them. So I expect those linebackers to do a good job. They're going to be clean, and they're going to get better because of the front four. The front four is going to help out the linebackers tremendously. And back to you, Coach.
Yeah, you said that's what I used to try to tell people that first year with the linebacking core. And, oh, we look bad. We look bad up front. So what do y'all expect the linebackers to look like? We just, but yeah, with these guys coming in, Coach Hart gonna have these guys ready. Uh, I expect to see a great competition from all five of those guys that's in that room. Like you say, you can't forget about Garcia. You can't forget about Goldberg, and then the young freshman Montrez Walker coming from Georgia. He a 4-star for a reason, guys. So we expecting that guy to come in and play great for us this season. All right, we'll move to the secondary here. Uh, what can you say about this? I think it's one of our stronger points. You got two starting corners that probably could go anywhere in the nation and start at cornerback when you talking about DJ and you talking about Hood. You go out and get the guy from Florida, Vickers, come in from Oklahoma. I think he gonna be the guy who rotates like you saw Hood do last year. You'll have Preston in that nickel, and then at safety, I got Stoudemire and I got Byers. But then you got Benzozi that can back them up. You got RJ Johnson. You got Ridley back there. You got Hollywood Murphy. So we got guys back there, guys. The one thing I heard B. Watt saying you do have to respect it is that none of those guys are proven. Nobody can argue with that. None of those guys that we have mentioned, besides McKinney, DJ, Hood, and Hodge, have been proven, and Carter Stoudemire for Colorado. Now, Byers, he's a ball player. If you turn on his film at South Florida, he's a ball player. So, but all the other guys that we just named, they're not proven. So I can understand B. Watt's concern when he talked about the secondary. But we do have backups right now. Again, for us to be good, we got to have quality backups. So we'll find that out in the spring. Go ahead and tell me what you think about that secondary, Coach.
This is what I'll tell you about the secondary. When you're telling me how good your team is going to be, let me know how many NFL players you got on that. In the secondary, I can tell you right now, you got three. You got three. Hodge, McKinney, and Hood. That's three NFL players. And people are like, oh, man, what you talking about? Hodge going to be in the NFL, man. If Hodge played extremely well.
Could have went this year.
Exactly. If that injury didn't hit him. But what I'm going to tell you is this one here. The better the defensive front plays, the better your DBs are going to be. And also the DBs had a disadvantage. They had they played man-to-man. They played they played a league in which you had running quarterbacks, in which every time they should have been off the field, that running quarterback, while they backs turned, that running quarterback beat the linebackers or somebody on the edge, and they getting the first down. They should have been off the field, which makes your defense even better, because on those third and 15, third and 9s, teams shouldn't be getting that. Not against Colorado. You should be playing zone, period, guarding that 9-yard line to ensure nobody gets past that with the defensive front you got, because the quarterback ain't got number 2 seconds to throw the ball. If they got 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds to throw the ball with your team, boom, I can push the receiver. That's a second. And now they got to make a move and boom, go right around you, boom, make the tackle and you off the field. This is where I see it, Coach Drake. I always tell people, when they say how great were the Miami Hurricanes, they had the backups went to the NFL. The backups made it, really going to make it to the Hall of Fame. The backups were all pro in the NFL. That's how good they were. Your backups all pro in the NFL. You got NFL players on your team. So for us, we finally got NFL players, and that's in that backfield. And I'll tell you what, watch Byard in that Miami Hurricanes game. That boy balled. If he can play that well against the Miami Hurricanes, against Cam Ward, I don't see no problems with him playing in Colorado, because you're not going to play at a higher level than you did playing against the Miami Hurricanes in the Big 12. So with that being said, I see great talent. Now the backups, one thing I can say is this one here, Coach. This is what I love about Coach Mathis. I saw the walk-ons on well off last year were very competitive against the first and second string receivers. So that tells me it's great coaching. I'm talking about walk-ons that were playing, and you saw them 36 and some other numbers that they had out there that were walk-ons that were breaking up plays. So they're very well coached. So I don't expect to see a lot of issues when it pertains to their backfield for the ones that listen and that want to be coached, because Coach Mathis is a quiet assassin. He don't say much. He ain't for that camera, but he about that business, boss, when it come to coaching. When it come to coaching, Phillips, Mathis, they second to none. Hear me again. They are second to none when it comes to coaching and getting guys to the next level. They're producing NFL players. And if I'm a high school player, I'm running to them two, because they're going to show you. Phillips and Mathis is going to have number of NFL players on their resumes. And if you're a young player, you better do it now. Sign up now while it's early, while you can. Back to you, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach Mathis doesn't get enough credit for the work he does with these DBs. I think he gets overlooked because we got the great thing. People just overlook his great coaching ability, but look at how he handles the attitude. See, coaching ain't just about the X's and O's. It really isn't. It's about, can you handle the guys in your room, especially when they had stars in their room, not just guys. They had the stars in their room, and you got to make sure that these guys get treated the same way the other guys get treated, or guys get to feel in a certain type of way. Oh, you treat him differently than you treat me. I used to do this. The first thing I do, I don't care how far I got to go to find a bad play from my star. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. You see on this Playboy, you ain't do nothing. You ain't block nobody. You ain't do such and such and such and such and such and such. Now, when y'all just see me break him down, y'all know that everybody else gonna get the same kind of treatment, and we don't have to worry about people getting upset because they don't feel like this guy get the same kind of treatment. And that's what real coaching is. I think people get that confused when you think about what these guys are doing for this football team and Coach Prime in Colorado. It's a kicker, and Buck Buchanan, a guy who can put that thing in the end zone and kick them long field goals for us. Again, I don't care how mad y'all get or how upset y'all get. Mata going out there if it's 40 and under. 40 and under Mata. Field goals, Mata. Okay? That's who's going out there. Hey, that's who going out there. But another reason I want quality backups, guys, is because when you have quality backups, that means your special teams can be special. Because now you're talking about a guy like Goldberg who was on, he went on every trip. He made such a big impression on his coaches that he dressed every game and was on all the special teams. And that's how you got to make it. A lot of these guys, that's how they're going to have to make an NFL team. So talk to us about what we're going through with those kickers. Like I said, we got Buck Buchanan. Feely is still there as well, guys. He had
Coach, when it pertains to those kickers, this is what I see. Special teams is going to be key to Colorado this year, pertaining to how effective they are on defense. When you have, and people are like, why does he always go back to defense? Because defense is going to determine the success of Colorado. And if your strength is your defense, your special teams should play to that advantage. What you mean by that? This is what I mean by that is this one here. You kick that when you kick off the ball, you don't give them an opportunity to return it. When you punt the ball, you don't give them an opportunity to run the ball. If that means you kick the ball, for example, if we play Kansas State and Dylan Edwards is back there on a punt return, Let me give you a favor. Let me tell you something. I'm not a coach. Let me tell you something. Kick the ball out of bounds. Do not give him an opportunity to change the game. Kick the ball out of bounds. Put your defense on the field, which is your strength, and then play. See, that's to me where special teams is going to come in. The special teams need to do this. Coach Dre, you named it. When we're 40 and in, that's 3 points. That's automatic. He didn't miss. Now, he might have got one block, but he didn't miss. That's automatic. So with me saying that, I say this. That's 3 points. If I got my offense and we're there and we got a 3rd and 9 or whatever the case may be, and we're right at the 35-yard line, you know what I'm doing? I'm running the football. I'm running the football. If we get a first down, good, but I'm not turning those 3 points down. We could run an option or something where Salter runs the ball, and try to get it and option it out. But I'm not losing yards where I'm giving up 3 points. You say, why are you doing that? If you're only giving up 17 points, threes add up. You get 4 threes, that's 12. You know what I'm saying? They add up, then you get a touchdown, game over, you done won. So all up there is 22. So, well, that's 19. That's 19. 12 plus 7, 19. But you still win, and you ain't giving up a 17. So my point is this. Take advantage of special teams, make it special, and this is the key, Coach Dre. You said it. It provides players that aren't ready to start an opportunity to dress out and be a part of the team and make a difference on the team. Because if you look at it, Mathis made one of the biggest plays of the season when he went back there on a kickoff where he knocked the snot. He got a fumble recovery from the knocked the snot out of him and got the fumble recovery. So all I'm saying is you still get to change the game in special teams. You just got to go out there and understand wherever Coach Prime puts you or you earn the opportunity to get out there, take advantage of it. Because when they see you on tape, when they see you running down there knocking somebody head, like Hood knocked somebody head off too on special teams because Hood was like, I should be starting. And he went down there and he showed people, this is why I should be starting because when I get on here, I'm going to make a play. So that's what I expect from the special teams. I expect Buck, touch Buck. He kicking the ball. He kicking that ball in the stadium. I expect Mata 40 and in. That's automatic. That's 3 points. And I expect when we punt the ball to the sideline and ensure that we don't get no kick returns the other way for a touchdown. If we do that, wow, keep that defense where we want the defense out there and force the team. It's always about the medical tent. Always about the medical tent. If we see the medical tent go up, you can say it's going to be a W, baby. And that's back to you, Coach.
Yeah, we just gotta, like I said, we just gotta make the special teams special. And you gotta want, like again, being on special teams is a want-to job. You gotta want to go down there and make tackles on special teams. You gotta want to go out there and do that grunt work. Everybody wants to be the star until it's time to be the star. So you gotta go out there and do what's best for the football team. I tell guys all the time, if you put the team goals in front of your goals are happy. I'll say that again. If you put the team goals in front of your goals will happen. I don't think Shedeur and Travis went out there trying to do what they did. They just did it, and it just comes. That's what comes with what they were doing, what they were producing, and you got to be happy about that. Guys, we just broke down every position, starting with the coaches, all the way into every position. What we think is going to happen in the spring game. We got another little bit of news to talk about on the horizon, and it's also connected with Deion Sanders and Coach Prime. Is Eddie George has just announced earlier today that he'll be taking the head coaching job at Bowling Green in the state of Ohio, a FCS program, leaving Tennessee State to make a jump up to Bowling Green. For guys that don't know, Bowling Green is a more of a stepping stone job. The likes of Urban Meyer has been at Bowling Green. I think Nick Saban was at Bowling Green at one point in time. There's a couple of other coaches where they had stops at Bowling Green before they got their big break. Now, this is late in the season, but Bowling Green's head coach took a position in the NFL. I want to say with the Eagles, with Kellen Moore leaving, I think he became the Eagles quarterback coach with Kellen Moore getting the head coaching job. So he took a job in the NFL, and so now Eddie George gets a chance again. Nothing but the prime effect. Guys trying to get these guys in these positions to make their programs more worthy to come out and be seen, and you will see that with Bowling Green. Give us your perspective on Eddie George getting the head coaching job at the University of Bowling Green.
Doors opening up. What happens is this one here. People go and it's called television. Television is called TV programming. They program you to say, hey, this is the narrative. We got to congratulate old Eddie. Oh, it ain't nothing like Eddie. Eddie did it the right way. Eddie went into a team, that HBCU team, wasn't no very successful team he went to. He went and he built it up from the ground up, and he put work in, and now that work is paying off. But I tell y'all, it took somebody before him to show people that, hey, you have to show those administrators and those presidents of those universities, they make money. Coach Prime, not only did he show he make money, he showed you that he knows how to run an organization, which he's showing you right now. He's running it the right way. You got kids that are actually graduating. You got kids that are actually doing academics. You got kids that are doing things the right way. You got kids that actually have real NIL deals. You got people like Charlie is on almond commercials. So all I'm saying is this one here. Eddie George now gets to get his tree, his coaching tree, where he gets to bring up coaches to show them and put them in a position in which now they can become millionaires. How much money did Coach Livingston get? He got over $1 million contract, didn't he? So now for his income now, he's a millionaire. And that's what Eddie George can do for his coaches. And it all starts with getting the opportunity. Y'all talk to people. This is what Coach Dre come in and say. Coach Dre will not tolerate no foolishness when it comes to Coach Prime. It's bigger than football. You're looking at generations of families now that are going to be living on different streets. They're going to be living in different neighborhoods. They're going to be a different economy. And those people are going to bring people up underneath them and going to raise them up where they're going to be living in a different neighborhood. That's a good thing. You're going to get to see people that look like you that get to run organizations. That's a good thing. You are better than just running the football, throwing the football, and tackling. We got brains. And not only we got brains, we understand how organizations should be run and are running. So I congratulate Mr. George, but I tell y'all, without Coach Prime, you're not going to see him. You're not seeing the Michael Vicks, and you're not seeing my boy Jackson when it comes to Delaware State and all those other places. You're not going to see it because they didn't have to provide them an opportunity, because you know what they're going to say? They weren't successful before, so why should I give them a chance now? Can't say that. Coach Prime is successful. He's the hottest thing on show business. You look at it right now, they're big in Colorado. They're changing schedules so that they can get Colorado by itself on Friday night. When do you ever see some mess like that? They are saying, I don't even want you to play on Saturday because that's all junked up on Saturday. We want to put you on Friday because we know you're going to get them views when it comes to Colorado football. And they do it because they're going to see good football, and they also going to get it because of this one here. You got people out there that want to see Coach Prime not succeed. But the problem they have is you got more people like us that want him to succeed. That want him to succeed. So with that being said, Coach George, congratulations. Get there, formulate your coaching staff. Win, baby. Win, baby, win, baby. Because All this means not if you don't win. When he wins, you know what's going to happen with Eddie George. Eddie George was considered for an NFL coaching job. Y'all need to know. Eddie George was in consideration for NFL coaching job. As soon as Eddie George wins, I expect Eddie George to move on up to the NFL. Back to you, Coach.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't remember that he did get an interview with the Chicago Bears. But this is the biggest thing. Eddie George is from the state of Ohio. He's going home to Ohio. It's the equivalent to Deion Sanders coming to Florida to coach any school. I don't care if Deion Sanders came to coach Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, West Florida. If Deion Sanders came home to coach a school in Florida, it would be the biggest thing in Florida. And so now Eddie George gets to go home to Ohio, coach at Bowling Green, and set his like I'm saying, set himself up to be in the running for other jobs. But again, this all falls back to what Deion Sanders said when he first got the job at Colorado. Because he's led by something bigger. He said, I got to do this because they were trying to keep these guys out of coaching. It's not a coincidence that all these NFL stars are not being head coaches. They've been wanting to be head coaches, guys. But the coaching fraternity was keeping them out. I bet you right now Florida State kicking themselves in the butt because before Deion got the Jackson State job, he wanted to be the head coach at Florida State because Florida State was not looking good. He wanted to turn his alma mater around. They didn't want that because the coaching fraternity didn't want that. So now that Deion Sanders is the head of the coaching fraternity, now I'm going to make sure my guys can get in these jobs and turn these programs around. And again, like he said, it gives these guys to know that, baby, if you don't make it in playing, you can come be a coach. And you see that a lot of times these kids fall out of football and things in their life fall apart because that's been their whole life. And then now you don't have that. What do you do when the crowd goes away? What do you do? What can you do when the crowd goes away? Prime told y'all that the fans only blow when it's hot. So when you ain't hot and you just cool off, what do? You got to ask yourself that. And that's the one thing that guys like Eddie George, guys like Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick, them guys got a testimony. They got a story. They didn't have picture-perfect careers. Them guys went through something. And maybe their story can help these other young men not have to make the same mistake. See, that's another thing with people in your family. You get mad with your family because sometimes they make mistakes. But sometimes God let them make the mistake so you don't have to make the same mistake. But you so foolish to think that, I'm gonna just do my own thing. No, you gotta open your eyes and see that maybe this person in my family made this mistake, so we don't have to make the same mistake. And so I think, Coach, these guys coaching in these positions are going to turn it around. Miss Lady C said some real stuff. If I'm Tennessee State, boy, I'm calling Ray Lewis or Ed Reed up right now, so quick, trying to see if I can get you there because you got to get somebody with a name to keep these kids here at Tennessee State because there is a 30-day window that gets open for these guys at Tennessee State that can hit the portal. So from today until the beginning of April, these guys can find somewhere else to go to school. They can go anywhere else. They can follow Coach to Bowling Green, which I expect some of those guys will do. He has his own son on that team, so I'm pretty sure that his son will be following him. But those kids can follow him to Bowling Green. The same thing with the Bowling Green kids. They have a 30-day window. They had a 30-day window when their coach left to where they can hit the transfer portal and go somewhere else. But again, we just trying to give Coach Prime his flowers because, again, none of this happened if Coach Prime doesn't succeed. And Uncle Steve will tell you, me and Rob told people this when Deion first got the job. If Deion don't succeed, this doesn't happen for everybody. But with him succeeding, now you see everybody trying to hop on the bandwagon, and now other NFL players are coming out and saying that they want to coach. It is just great to see that these guys are getting the opportunity to lead these young men, because that's what we need. We need leaders and head coaches. It ain't about the X's and O's. People get so caught up in the X's and O's. But the best football coaches are the guys that these young men gravitate to. If you've been to Colorado, look at how many guys from Jackson State came to the Colorado football game. They still want to be around that atmosphere and what Coach Prime bringing. It ain't about the hoopla and the hype and the well-off videos. It's about how this man made these young men feel. That's what coaching is all about. I tell people all the time, I don't win football games because I'm just a great X's and O's coach. I win football games because I practice what I preach and I stand on what I'm talking about. And again, I'm living in my purpose. Every day I get up and go out to that football field, I'm doing something positive that the Lord put me here to do. And that's something that all y'all need to find, baby. God done put everybody here with a gift. And that gift is not to hold to yourself. That gift is to bless somebody else. I tell y'all all the time, I'm just a nobody trying to bless somebody. If I can bless somebody, hey, it's a better day. Because you don't know what nobody going through. You don't know what mental strain or physical strain their lives is going through. People can paint a pretty picture for you, but be living really rough behind them closed doors. I'll say that again. People can paint a pretty picture for you, but they can. And if you don't go out and if you don't seek and try to help them out, what are you really doing? What are you really doing? But we appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm gonna let Uncle Steve give his last words before we get up out of here. Again, we appreciate everybody stopping by and rocking with me and Uncle Steve tonight on this Sunday.
Coach Dre,
Go ahead.
Coach Dre, it's always a pleasure, and I thank all the people out there in podcast land for kicking it with us tonight. You got B-Watch got some fantastic audience here on podcast land. They do a fantastic job. They get with us. They chatting on here, telling us things. But I'm gonna leave it with this one here, Coach Dre. I love what I saw from a man, King James, when King James, as a father, stood up and he went VR direct. He went VR direct to somebody and he let them know, you can say a lot of things about me as a man, but keep my son name out your mouth. And that's what he meant. He meant that to every core of his soul. And I look forward to more fathers that go up there, defend their kids, especially when it wasn't a basketball related thing that the comment was pertaining to. Really, it wasn't, because I tell folks, and I'll leave it at this one here. The young man was the 55th draft in the draft pick. That really means nothing, because you don't talk about people who are drafted 55th in any draft, especially in basketball. I'm up here in the D.C. area, up in Maryland. We got the number 2 pick, and he ain't did nothing. Absolute. Might not even be in the league in a couple more years with the way he's playing. But with that being said, he's the second or third pick in the draft. So all I'm telling people is this one here. I commend men that step up and say, hey, protectors. I commend the Coach Dre's that are protectors for his family and develop and mentor young men. And what I like about it, he did it nonviolent. It could have been, but he did it nonviolent. He went up and expressed his opinion on what he stand on, and you do that. And I tell all of y'all people out there in the audience, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's something that I'm glad that y'all don't fall for foolishness. Y'all keep a positive attitude, keep being great, and always know God got you covered. Back to you, Coach Dredd. It's always a pleasure working with you, sir, and I salute you.
I appreciate it. Like he said, man, it's about us coming together. That's my whole point of even being on here. Like I told y'all, 2 or 3 years ago, you wouldn't even find Coach Dredd on no social media, no platforms, no nothing. If you couldn't call me on my phone or reach me by telephone or talk to me face to face, I didn't even want to talk, because I think a lot of this stuff is smoke and mirrors. People get on here and go back and forth with somebody you don't even know, or put down somebody that you don't even know like that. But what I realize is that I can also be a blessing to somebody who needs it, because you never know what somebody's going through, or what life trials and tribulations God has put in your life. There's a lot of people on here that I can thank. Miss Jennifer, Miss E. Willer, God, people that's been with me since we first started. Miss Selma Johnson, Miss Phyllis, all of those guys, Rev, Patrick, all of y'all that's been rocking with me and Rob, because like I say, people told us that the way we did sports talk wasn't gonna work. You just can't get on here and be positive all the time, man. Y'all ain't keeping it real. Y'all ain't being 100. Y'all just glorify Coach Prime. Y'all think he Martin Luther King. That's cool. Look at all them guys that did that and said that. Look at where they at now. We didn't argue with nobody. We didn't fuss and fight with nobody. We didn't cuss nobody out. We didn't do all of that. All we did was go about our business and find other people that was like-minded like us. It kept it positive, kept doing what we were doing, because to me, we wasn't doing nothing out the way. We was just trying to show you, like I say, y'all heard Uncle Steve just talk about LeBron James and his son. Well, Bill Belichick has it set up where his son will be the next head coach at the University of North Carolina after he retired, after he stepped down in North Carolina. If he stepped down today, something happened to him today, his son will be the next head coach at the University of North Carolina. You have heard nothing about it. I guarantee you about 2 or 3 of y'all didn't even know it existed, right? Nobody talked about it. That's no knock on Coach Belichick. You doing what's best for your child. You putting your children to be a million. Make sure that he has both of his sons on his coaching staff. One of his sons the defensive coordinator. His other son is on other staff. Right here in Florida, University of Florida. Steve Spurrier Jr. just got hired on the University of Florida staff. Your daddy got a statue in front of the school, the greatest Florida Gator that ever lived. Nobody said an inkling word. And you'll never hear about it. Why? Because they protect each other. They make sure everybody's okay. When Nick Saban was at Alabama, when coaches went, when it's some of these coaches that probably should have went to the coaching graveyard and died. Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, all of them guys got in big trouble coaching. But what did Nick Saban do? He pulled them in and say, hey, he extended his hand and say, I'll help you, brother. So why can't we do that as a people? Why can't I extend my hand to anybody and say, hey, I'll help you? Like I said, we ain't getting paid for this. Listen, that ain't what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure that everybody understands, like Miss Lady C said, hey, y'all make it where we can understand. It's a lot of ladies that want to know about football, that men just overlook them. And, they don't know about, they don't want to hear about this. They just you can't do that. And that's what we here for. For people that don't really know what's going on, that really want to know what's going on, we're going to break it down for you and try to make it where you can understand. But as I always tell y'all before I leave, if you send no ships out, those ships will come in. And if there's no contest, nobody can win. Games can't be won if they haven't been played, and prayers can't be answered if they haven't been prayed. This has been a Sports Talk with B. Watts production. I am your man, Coach Drake. That is my one and only Uncle Steve. God bless you and good night. We'll see y'all next Sunday. Y'all be good.
The key to the success as a coach, I'm saying as a strength coach, and I'm watching them work, they self-policed. They made sure everybody did their reps. The best players was my hardest workers. My best players was my hardest workers. My best players was the hardest workers. So the guys that we count on, you can count on them from the weight room, from conditioning. They always out front, and they the toughest. Your best players got
Some money last week. I mean, that flat out killed it. That every darn body, every scout came to me and said, "Man, God, this kid is on the hey made some money out there last week. Hey, you killed it last week. Practice your butt off." But see, now we expect that every day, right? Well, yeah, you made some money last week. Every scout was ranting and raving about you and your practice ability and what they saw out there.
One of the most heavily scrutinized recruits in a long time in terms of, who he is, and I think Coach Prime valued who Jew was, and I think he valued his ability to withstand all the noise. And I've kind of, I don't know if you've seen me on Twitter recently, but I think that's probably the thing about Jew that doesn't get talked about, in my opinion, enough is just his ability to kind of go through all that and continue to perform at a high level, regardless of rankings going up or going down or anything else that went on, reclassification, additional academics, those kind of things. And talking to Prime was like, I understand those things. I understand the spotlight. I understand this stage. And, and I think one of the things that drew them to Julian was his ability to perform under pressure.
Out of it. Get all the out. Hey, good.
Beating all receivers in the footwork. Come on now. People trying to race me, they up, they gotta restart. These ain't no regular.
Deion is he's an elevator. Most people he's an elevator. He's going to elevate you as a person, and he's going to force you to elevate your life. And that's what he does. He lifts people up. A lot of the times the light may look like it's shining on him, but really he's shining a light on somebody. Pay attention to what he does. We're good friends, and whatever I can do to help him out, I'm gonna do.
Look, I love the celebrities he's bringing in, even Warren Sapp, all these guys. It's just incredible to sort of see.
Understand why he's bringing them there. It's not for just their celebrity. It's so these kids can understand you got to bring people around greatness and have them see it, touch it, taste it, for them to believe that they can become it.
Remember, here's the biggest thing about greatness. Greatness ain't about, man, I got it here, now let me go on. That's what people mess up. You know what greatness is?
So you think you're doing wrong, and then you keep trying to be better, and then you're just great? Or you just do something great, and that's it?
I'm saying, but how I continue to do something good to become great at it. Like,
not mess up.
The consistency part. Like, once you master this form or this deal, I just need you to keep repeating that same deal.
So you don't mess up?
Yeah, so be a master at the fundamentals. If you become a master at that technique, you won. It's very, very important. Like, you have to be a master of fundamentals. Like, everybody think it's this extra. No, it's being great at the basics. Be real good at your basics. It's like 1 point. Now I want you to master it to where it's second nature. So now I'm out there breaking, I'm driving. Everything becomes master.
I just want to tell everybody, we get a lot of flack about me being in the portal and all right now. We've got 3 freshmen on offense that's contributing. We got Jordan Seaton, Michael Welch, and Draylon Miller. So don't let anybody out there tell you we're not recruiting high school players. We're recruiting elite high school players to come here because we're looking for guys that can play immediately. We're not looking for guys.
Buffet along with me is what you're saying? Not nice. Salter back to throw. Back corner of the end zone. Drops it into Bentley Harshaw for the Liberty touchdown.
Kaden Salter for Liberty is having one of the better seasons in college football that we're not talking about. The Flames are undefeated, and Salter's been doing it with both his arm and his legs. He's shown a good amount of arm strength when it comes to intermediate to deep routes, but he's also an underrated runner who's made a lot of guys miss and has put up big numbers for Liberty this year.
Hugh Freeze should sign Liberty quarterback Kaden Salter.
Yes! Please! Yes! Please! Yes! Now! What do I have to do?
Explosive receivers. They're gonna go get the ball in the air when I put it in the air, and just they all playmakers. They love the game. They know how to get open, and they want the ball. I need receivers that want the ball. They want to go get it, and when it's in the air, it's there. It's no 50-50 balls, and 75-25 is what I want to call it. And I feel like I got those receivers that's gonna be able to do that. You know, Shedeur did his thing here, but it's time for me to come in and do what I got to do. What Shedeur did, that was what Shedeur did, and it's time for me to come in and start my own legacy here for my last year. Okay. So you just got to come in here, put in the work, put in the time. I mean, I got 1 year left, so I just got to take full advantage of it, be able to hold people accountable, people hold me accountable, be a leader, and be able to do what I got to do to support this team, do everything that I can do for this team so we can be able to win games, finish through games, and be able to continue to keep that legacy going and being a winning team.
Scope Plus. Hey, watching Sports Talk with B. Watts. I'm your boy Bernard Watts, live right here in Boulder, Colorado. Getting ready to watch Coach Prime in a Colorado Buffaloes. Yeah, Scope Up.
Wizard.